The Salaf. Ahlul Sunnah are those who followed what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions were upon. Umar ibn Abbas, Abdullah ibn Umar, Imran ibn al-Husayn, or you could say Ibn Husayn with L or without L, Abu Darda, and other companions never disagreed about the basics of belief. We already covered that. None of the Sahaba disagreed about the basics of the belief. Thus, it is also important to follow the followers of the companions, like Qais ibn Abi Hazim, Al-Hasan al-Bisri. This one, Al-Hasan al-Bisri, Abu Hanifa's madhab overtook his, replaced his. Where it was, the madhab of Al-Hasan al-Bisri, where it was, became overridden by Abu Hanifa school. Az-Zuhri, Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr, and Salim ibn Abdullah ibn Umar. This complies with the saying of Allah, وَالسَّابِقُونَ الْأَوَّلُونَ مِنَ الْمُهَاجِرِينَ وَالْأَنصَارِ وَالَّذِينَ تَبَعُوهُمْ بِإِحْسَانٍ رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُمْ وَرَضُوا عَنْهُ. The earliest and first to embrace Islam among the immigrants from Mecca, Allah praises them, and the Ansar, the inhabitants or the citizens of Al-Madinah who supported the Prophet and the immigrants, Allah praises them, and those who followed them in goodness, Allah praises them too. And that's a signal to Isnad, chain of narration. And those in the chain, Radiyallahu anhum wa radu anh, Allah accepted them and they are pleased with him. Surah At-Tawbah, Ayah 100. Those who came after the followers of the companions, like Abu Hanifa, Malik, and Ash-Shafi'i, and others like them who came after them, like Ahmed al-Bukhari and At-Tirmidhi, never disagreed on the basics of belief. Footnote. Whoever wants to verify that there is no difference between them, let him look into what was authored by Abu Hanifa, may Allah have mercy upon him, like in the Knowledge of Kalam. In his book Al-Alim wal-Muta'allim, the scholar and the learner, Al-Alim wal-Muta'allim, in which therein is the overwhelming proof against the atheists and the people of innovations. The invincible arguments. In that book, Abu Hanifa has invincible arguments. Likewise, his book Al-Fiqh al-Akbar has the best refutations against the opposers, and his other books. Ash-Shafi'i has a book called Al-Qiyas, though it might not be available today. I don't know that this book is available. Looks like it fell out of circulation, disappeared out of circulation, in which he refutes the atheists who claim the eternity of the world. He also has a book in which he refuted the Barahima. Those are some Indian philosophers, the Brahmins, and other books. If one looked in the books of Ash-Shafi'i and Abu Hanifa, he would find no difference between them. And others like them who came after them, like Ahmad al-Bukhari and At-Tirmidhi, never disagreed on the basics of belief. This holds true for all those imams and mujtahids such as Al-Awza'i, Dawood al-Zahiri. We learned he's not a real mujtahid though, and his madhab was weak, anomalous. And Az-Zuhri, Al-Layth ibn Sa'ad, Sufyan al-Thawri, but he's from Ahlul Sunnah though. And some people are probably going to say he was mujtahid. Well, we learned he wasn't. I learned he wasn't a mujtahid, really. He thought he was, and he has followers who deem him to be. And that had Abu Hanifa, for example, debated Dawood al-Zahiri, he would leave Dawood perplexed. and Sufyan al-Thawri and Sufyan ibn Uyayna and Yahya ibn Ma'in and Ishaq ibn Rahawayh, Sheikh of al-Bukhari, the one who inspired him, according to some of what was reported, to author Sahih al-Bukhari. Also, al-Bukhari had a dream. Muhammad ibn Ishaq al-Hanzali, Muhammad ibn Aslam al-Tusi, Yahya ibn Yahya, al-Hussein ibn al-Fadl al-Bajali, Abu Yusuf, that's Abu Hanifa's disciple, Muhammad ibn al-Hasan al-Shaybani, Zufar, also he's from Abu Hanifa's crew. They were the imams at their time. They were the sheikhs, Abu Hanifa and his whole squad. Abu Thawr and others. Thus, included in Ahlul Sunnah are the imams of the Hijaz and the Sham and Al-Iraq and Khurasan and Transoxiana. I don't know how to say that. Yes. So, and this whole paragraph here, first of all, this name here that I'm not sure how to pronounce, Transoxiana, that's what they call behind or beyond the river, ما وراء النهر. And this talk here is taken from the book At-Tafsir fi ad-Din, the book about the sects. They are the Salaf, the people of the first 3 centuries mentioned in the Hadith. خَيْرُ النَّاسِ قَرْنِي ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ. The best of the people are my qarn, my century. But we can afford to not translate it necessarily, because some have interpreted qarn by other than century, but we do interpret it as century. The best of the people are my qarn, century, then those who come after them, then those who come after them. Narrated by Al-Bukhari. This is according to the famous saying of scholars like Hafiz Abul Qasim ibn Asakir, who explained qarn in the hadith as century, mi'at sana, 100 years. And this Hafiz Abul Qasim ibn Asakir is not the same Ibn Asakir from the creed of Ibn Asakir. It's a different Ibn Asakir. Some, though, considered that the extent of the Salaf was until the year 220. The first qarn, according to them, being 100 years. The second being 70 years, and the third being 50 years. So they said the Salaf is 220 years, not 300 years. What strengthens the first saying that it is 300 years is Ibn Hibban's narration. خَيْرُ النَّاسِ قَرْنِي ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ. The best of people are my century, then those who come after them, then those who come after them, then those who come after them. So according to this rendition, it's mentioned 3 times. We usually cite the one that mentions only twice. خَيْرُ النَّاسِ قَرْنِي ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ. Just twice. This one has it a 3rd time. ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ. So this rendition, since this has a 3rd mentioning in it, it strengthens the interpretation of those who say qarn means century. Each one is a century. The best of people is my century, then the century after them, then the century after them. Then looks like then the century after them, but it's not more than 300. Any question?
Yes.
Yes. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Imam Shafi book, Akiyas.
Yes.
Did any of his students memorize the book and wrote it down so it get to us?
I don't know the history of this book, but it seems to not be available. Meaning, the scholars have documented it. You will find the mentioning of Al-Qiyas by Ash-Shafi'i. This is documented in books of the scholars. But where's this book? I never saw it. The sheikhs that I know never saw it, and they don't think that it's available. It doesn't look like it's available. And that wouldn't be the first time that something like that happened. Sometimes the scholars, they have books. We know that they authored something that didn't reach us.
Okay, I understand that. All the time, I think you know what I'm talking about. It's out there, but nobody haven't seen it at all.
It might not be out there. It might be just it dropped out of circulation. Nobody passed it on anymore, for example. Just like, for example, isn't there entire madhabs that are gone? Yes. Used to be other madhabs. We don't have them anymore. Now all we have, for example, for Al-Awza'i is some sayings. He had a madhab that was followed for 200 years. Now you're not going to be able to learn his madhab. You're welcome. وَسُبْحَانَ اللَّهِ وَبِحَمْدِهِ